Okay, viewers, we are back again with this 2017 Chevy Malibu. Okay, and I had already started the engine. As you can see, if you look at the RPM, okay, it's up there. It's like about maybe 700 or or 5. It's really low. Okay, if it was 700 it would have been good, but the car is running right now. Okay, I have the scan tool hook up, and this is what we call live data. Okay, so you see it says hood open. We are not concerned about that. Engine speed, you could see it's like 700, 69. It's fluctuating, it's not idling steadily. Okay, so that's kind of low. At least 800 or 750 to 800 is more acceptable. Okay, but so far the car is running and it's not bad. Okay, engine coolant temperature sensor 61 degrees. That's because I started the car, so if you look at this part where it says range, okay, right there, okay, that gives you a more or less what you should expect. So the range is between -40 to 215. So 62 is acceptable. Likewise, 31 is acceptable because it's between the range, okay, degrees Celsius. Okay, so you got to understand your tools. You have got to understand how to read your tool. Then you will know more or less what is really not functioning properly. Like, for example, I expect more at the idle. All right, I expect a little more, but remember it says the idle air control is out of performance or out of range. Okay, so let's go through some of these parameters here. Okay, that is good. Okay, we go up. Ambient air temperature is -40. Okay, so now this one here where you see -40 and you look at the range -40 to 215 degrees Celsius, that is to tell you something is wrong. Okay, which means the sensor maybe is not connected, or maybe the sensor is bad itself. Okay, so it's not picking up the ambient air temperature sensor. And remember, this car was hit, and I told you that sensor is between the radiator and the condenser, so maybe that sensor is damaged or is not even on the car. So that's why when you see -40, it max out the range, right? It max out -40, so that's not good. That need to be checked. Okay, cold start, yes, because I just started the car, so that's fine. Mass airflow sensor 2.48. Yeah, this car I think is a 2.0 liter, 2.5. I think 2.5 liter. So it's acceptable when the mass airflow is measures around 2.5, 2.5, like, and the engine is like 2.5 or so. Once it's close, yes, that's acceptable. Okay, so that's how the mass airflow sensor mass airflow is being detected. So that's fine. Let's move on. Engine load, I'm not pressing on the gas, so that's fine. Okay, accelerator pedal position sensor, I'm not pressing on the pedal. See, that's it right there. I'm not pressing on it, so it reads 0. Okay, and that's fine. Okay, if I press on it, it will change. If you let me gas it a little just for it to change, you see, it went all the way up. Okay, and it went back down. All right, so the accelerator pedal position sensor, that's fine. That's working properly. The throttle position, okay, it's at 24 now. That's a little bit of concern because I'm barely touching the pedal, and to me that's high, even though the range is between 0 to 100. Okay, but if I clean it, maybe this might drop down a little more. Okay, a little more, so it gives a little more power whenever you gas the engine up. Okay, that's right, the throttle position. All right, maybe it's dirty inside, so once it's dirty, it gives like a high number. Then you have the map sensor. Okay, if you look at the parameters 0 to 225, 31 is acceptable. We just need to work on some of these sensors, and they will perform better. A boost pressure sensor, again, you see 101 that's between 0 to 655, so 101 is all right. Turbocharged bypass valve, solenoid valve command inactive. Okay, we might need to check that out. I'm not so clear about that, because with the turbo, there's a thing that you call like a bypass and wastegate, and there's a whole different ball game with the turbo. All right, so if the solenoid is inactive, that might need to check out, or maybe that's normal at this time, but I'm not sure about that, so I'm not going to tell you what I don't know. All right, because when you see the other one, turbo charger bypass solenoid valve command 5, wastegate solenoid valve 5. Okay, so maybe when the car runs, this inactive would turn to active. All right, so we'll pass that for right now. Okay, and it doesn't have a range. If you notice, there's no range right there. The other one, they have a range 0 to 100, so that's fine. Okay, we go up. Barometric pressure 99 that's okay. All right, calculated that's okay. The baro again 100, that's okay. Okay, we go up. Okay, and the car feels like it's misfiring because the RPM is bouncing, and I feel the car like it's trembling, like it's vibrating a little. If you look at it, that signifies misfire, but we don't even have any misfire codes. Okay, we don't have any misfire codes, and that like a misfire, but maybe it could be not a misfire, but it could be because the idle air control is dirty and it's not clean, so it's not detecting the amount of air that is going through the bypass valve for the car to idle steadily. Okay, so that's a problem right there. If the car is not idling steadily, okay, and it doesn't have a misfire, it could be because of the idle air control valve. Okay, and let's go up. Okay, ambient humidity, we don't really worry. Fuel control loop status closed because the car is already warm. Okay, ignition injector duty cycle, that's not bad. Okay, that's milliseconds, 1.1 milliseconds. Okay, that's okay for right now because the parameters is 0 to 984 milliseconds. So 1 milliseconds is very, very fast, so that's okay. That's for the injector. All right, HO2 sensor. Okay, sensor 1. All right, it's supposed to be fluctuating because the computer is trimming the gas, so it should be rich lean, but the O2 the second one shouldn't be mimicking the first one. It shouldn't be going up and down like the first one. Okay, because like that's mean the catalytic converter is not working properly. But this car is cool. We just started this car, so I don't expect this second O2 sensor to be steady as yet, you know, because the car need to warm up real properly. Go on the freeway, you drive the car, you know, so that it warms up, then we might see some better readings at the O2. All right, next thing we go, the fuel trim. Okay, -5 is running a little rich, it goes back to 0. -4, you know, go back. So that's not bad because around between 10 and you know and negative, you know, 10, that's kind of acceptable because it's changing. But if you look at long-term fuel trim, what it has -17, that's where, yes, there is a problem. The car is running rich, right? And what that means is that the computer is trying to cut, is trying to subtract the gas because the car is running rich. Whenever you see a negative number, is because the car is running rich. When you see too much of a high positive number, the car is running lean. Okay, so that -17 is that the computer is trying to trim the gas, is trying to cut down the gas so that the car doesn't run rich, like what I say. And that could be one of the issue why it has the knock sensor code. Like as I mentioned, if it's running rich, too much gas is going into the cylinder and there might be pre-ignition happening right there. Okay, but we'll check that out. I'm just trying to explain to you, the viewers, so that you understand what we more or less what we are coming from, where we are coming from. Okay, fuel trim memory cell 14%. Don't really worry about that. Okay, then it has a the power enrichment inactive, deceleration fuel cutoff inactive. Okay, we're not driving, so you know, I'm steady. Okay, I'm sitting in the car, the hood is wide open, if you can see. All right, so we're not moving. So some of these stuff I expect to see until we started to drive. Okay, then you have the evap purge solenoid command. Okay, the vent solenoid venting, so that's okay. The purge valve, well, we are not driving again, so the purge valve, what it does is that it purges the excessive gas and it sends it back into the intake manifold to be burned. Okay, so we are not concerned about that for right now. Okay, we go up. Oh. We scroll up. Remaining fuel in. We don't worry ignition time in power mode. We don't worry about the run. We don't worry about those. Ignition 14 point. We don't worry about that. Go up. Go up. Battery voltage 14.3. Everything is working good. when it comes to the battery, the alternator. That's what you expect to see. Okay, when the engine is static means it's not on or not moving. It should be measured between like 12.4, 12.6, 12.5. You know, that's acceptable. But with the alternator turning, which we call the generator, it's recharging the battery, so you expect to see that 14.4, 14.3. That's fine. Okay, ignition, acceleration signal, accessory signal on. We don't worry about those. Engine oil pressure control malfunction. Engine oil pressure control malfunction. Now, that might have to do with the P60DE or whatever that has to do with the oil pressure solenoid. Okay, so this one here is important, and this one is the one we're going to check. We're going to measure a voltage drop at the solenoid. We're going to test the solenoid to see if it's working. If not, then we're going to replace that solenoid. We're going to change the oil. We're going to put the original filter that this car carries, because this car uses the AC Delco, I think something T64 whatever, but I'll let you guys know. But always go with the original oil filter for this car, because there are some recalls on this car, and you cannot use any aftermarket oil pressure any aftermarket oil filter on this car, because there might be some certain holes that oil bypass in order for the car to run properly, and those aftermarket oil filters might not have it. So you go to your dealer, or you find your manual, or go to somewhere where you can find AC Delco oil, the oil filter, the correct oil filter for the car. That's what I mean. Okay, let's move on. Engine control, ignition, relay command on. Don't worry about that. That's good. Relay feedback signal, that's good. This is the malfunction indicator, the lamp, which is the check engine light, on, and we know that it's right here, it's on. Okay, so that will be fixed after we fix the car, so we don't worry about that. Okay, requested by DTC, yes, we know we have codes. Okay, cruise control disable. Okay, the car is not running, so we expect that. All right, fuel pressure sensor, that's working properly so far. Fuel real pressure sensor, we don't worry about that. Alcohol content 10%. Okay, we don't worry about that right now, because we are not testing the gas to see how much alcohol content is in gas. Okay, recommended maximum fuel, we don't worry about that. Fuel pump enable, we don't worry about that. Current gear in progress, we don't worry about that. Okay, we go up. Brake pedal position sensor, we don't worry about these. AC compressor operation not allowed. Well, right now he said talk about the condenser and the radiator, so afterwards we're gonna check the HVAC, so we don't worry about that. Engine oil level switch, okay, that's to tell you, how the level of the oil, so that's fine. Okay, we don't really worry about the oil level switch. Okay, sorry for the moving up of my hand. The engine oil pressure 184 or whatever. Okay, that will be sorted out when we do the repairs. Engine oil absolute pressure sensor, don't worry about that. Engine oil pressure don't worry about engine oil pressure control valve. Okay, low. Okay, engine oil control solenoid valve, low pressure. Maybe it's just a fuse, or maybe it's the valve is not working, or maybe it's a wire, but that's gonna get fixed. We go up. Engine oil pressure not run. Okay, not run. Okay, cool. Engine oil pressure okay. All right. Fuel economy inactive. Warm ups, we don't worry about those. Vehicle speed sensor is not moving. Distance DTC cleared, we don't worry about that. Engine run, okay. Well, this is it for right now. All right, viewers, I had went through some of the parameters for this car, and I'll get back to you when we start the repair. And thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like, the subscribe button. Okay, you can also comment if I'm not doing a good job on explanation or whatsoever. That's fine too. Okay, but I want to engage with you, my viewers, and see you when we start the repairs. Thank you.